Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to Fallen London. Today we're going to be looking at January's exceptional story, Caveat Emptor, which is Latin, like let the buyer beware, so this could be interesting. I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's and Christmas, and without further ado, we'll get straight into it. While perusing the unexpurgated London Gazette, you notice an advertisement. Indeed, this particular advertisement would be difficult to miss, considering that it occupies 2 full-page spreads. Grand Estate Auction. Open to the public tonight. Fabulous valuables. Affordable antiques. Previous owner deceased. And not expected back anytime soon. Well, let's attend this auction. Who knows what interesting bargains you might find. Despite its remote address, you discover a veritable society mob assembled at the property when you arrive. Landlords continue to disgorge lords and ladies well into the event. From nouveau riche barons to hoary and dust-covered duchesses, each equally curious to explore the chateau that has opened its doors, and curious whether those doors might be for sale. Everything is for sale, from the bottles in the cellar to the carpets on the floor, to that hideous taxidermic fowl over the fireplace. Even the chateau itself will be sold, complete with all remaining furnishings. Once the even smaller lots have been auctioned. But what is available to buy is less interesting than who has come to buy it. Everyone is watching everyone, with more than one observer dissecting the gathered nobility through a pince nez. Okay, so we have 2 options. We can gossip with the other attendees. One aristocratic name is on everyone's lips. Or we can bid on the bottles from the cellar. You could use a few more bottles for your own cellar. Yes. I will bid. 70% chance, let's go. Yeah. The auctioneer's gavel descends with a bang, and you collect your purchase. These are, indeed, highly serviceable years, although the chateau's previous owner thought they lacked a red-blooded vigour. You overhear more comments from the staff as they carry additional bottles from the cellar. Apparently, their employer had peculiar drinking habits towards the end. Stopped drinking entirely, in fact. No wonder the poor soul just shriveled away to a husk. Oh, we got some good stuff here. And making waves is increasing. We'll gossip with the other attendees. Haven't you heard? The Vicomte de V will supposedly attend tonight. What do you mean you don't know the Vicomte? 2 grand dames take it upon themselves to provide your education, regaling you with succulent details that someone less acquainted with the peerage might blush to hear grand dames repeat. Their fans beat with increasing ardour beneath their faces. They tug at their collars, exposing bejeweled throats as they breathlessly condemn his reputation. Perhaps in whatever foreign land he calls home, the Vicomte's behaviour is considered sociably acceptable, but here in London it is also extremely desirable. We've drawn someone's attention. Okay, so we can wait for bidding to begin again. The auctioneer is currently gargling tonic water. Exquisite burgundy coloration. Labourers rearrange furniture for the next round. The stains on that fainting couch will certainly compromise its value, and the stains on these curtains, and on this hideous taxidermic fowl. Even the wallpaper, when you examine it closely enough, is spotted here and there with something that the auction catalogue calls character. Kind of want to buy that taxidermic fowl. Oh! It keeps coming up and I'm like, that seems interesting. Okay, hang on. Yes. Bid on the hideous taxidermic fowl. Anything this ugly must be worth owning. 60% chance, let's go. Ah. We were outbid. Across the room, the Duke of Bedfordshire lifts a single finger, as though to flick your own bid from its leading position. He glares at you. The hideous taxidermic fowl glares at nothing in particular. The auctioneer's voice rings out, calling for a higher price. This stuffed carcass just got 25 pieces of rusty gold more expensive. I want it. Give it to me. There we go. Good heavens, it's even worse up close. Can that be possible? The more you examine the bird, the more convinced you become that it's assembled from multiple birds, and potentially something that isn't a bird. Whoever owned this chateau must have been an incredibly naive buyer on the osteological market, but it will look striking beneath a bell jar. We have 2 unidentified thigh bones and 4 femurs of a surface deer. Well, I'm sure it'll be useful at some point, huh? And now we can study the crowd. Heads are continually turning to look for the Vicomte de V. That's him! Someone whispers. But that isn't him. There he is! Someone else murmurs. But he isn't there. Despite his reputation, few people have met the Vicomte in person, and none can quite agree on his appearance. He is tall. He is pale. He is taller than that. He isn't pale whatsoever. At Lady B's salon the other week, he wore the most immaculate cravat. Perhaps Lady B could describe him, if she hadn't retired to the tomb colonies suddenly. I'll tell you what he looks like. There's a hollow-eyed heiress. Like a bloodsucker. I'm getting Dracula vibes here, ladies and gentlemen. This is very good. The eye of the beholder. When you are in his company, you sense that he could drain your very dregs, explains the heiress, turning towards you. But that is also his charm. How he moves, how he smiles, his eyes. Do you understand what I mean? His qualities are irresistible. They draw you closer so that he may sink his teeth deeper. Wouldn't you be drawn to certain qualities? Ooh, okay. So, physical grace, for instance? How people carry themselves can convey many flattering things. An alluring smile. One smile often encourages another. Or a particular glimmer in the eye. Eyes are the windows to the soul, even when some souls may be on loan, or nothing would capture my attention. Whatever his appearance, you doubt you would be drawn to the Vicomte. If I only have to pick one of these, it's probably going to be a particular glimmer in the eye. Some people will know what I mean by that, and other people won't. And then he would bite, says the heiress, to which an eavesdropping gentleman replies that she clearly reads too many sensation novels. Nevertheless, as the auction proceeds, you hear other rumours that wouldn't be misplaced in London's cheaper horror magazines. Animals avoid him, cameras cannot capture him, mirrors break when they reflect his face. Next, someone will claim the Vicomte made his fortune by drowning widows and orphans, says the eavesdropping gentleman with a chuckle. He is an investment property speculator, which is more than frightening enough. Well, at least I got my hideous taxidermic fowl, but let's wait for bidding to begin again. The auctioneer is shuffling papers to search for the property deed. And the next item is... Suddenly, it happens. You catch somebody's gaze in a mirror. Nobody else has noticed. The gentleman is standing at a looking glass, adjusting the cravat around his neck. His eyes hold yours inside the reflection, which certainly isn't broken. There is nobody else in the room. There is nobody in the chateau. You are alone in the dark, with only the light from his eyes to guide you toward an expression that brightens his entire face and the entire house, until you're surrounded by chatting people again. "I don't believe we've met," says the Vicomte de V. "What a pleasure." Well, let's start, as we always do, by trying to buy the house. Bid on the chateau's property deed. 200, that's a cheap house. All eyes are fixed on the Vicomte as he sits in the front row. Oh, going once, twice. You are alone in the room once again. There is nobody here but the Vicomte de V and yourself. And perhaps some distant auctioneer who may or may not be shouting, practically too far away to hear. Something that doesn't matter. The Vicomte makes a bid, and you raise it. There is nobody else in the running. There is nobody else in the world. The Vicomte doesn't make another bid. And then you are surrounded by people again, and the auctioneer is much closer, and the gavel descends with a bang. It would seem you've just purchased a chateau. Let's speak with the Vicomte de V. Now that he has arrived, he is thronged on every side by socialites. Butterflies never bobbed around a nectared blossom as these ladies and gentlemen bob around the Viscount. They laugh, they offer hands for him to kiss, they devour him with their eyes. But his eyes are fixed upon you. Flashbulbs pop as journalists snap photographs. But it's as if you're chatting alone with the Vicomte, surrounded indeed by nothing more than breeze-blown butterflies. Aren't auctions wonderful? There are so many people to watch, so many passions. Sometimes, I must confess, the attention is rather acute. But we can't deprive the Gazette's readership, can we? He asks, with a wink. Well, I like this man. Let's sign our name and complete the purchase. Right on the dotted line, and also on this dotted line, and the chateau will be yours. These clauses are quite convoluted, and the sigil stamped onto this property deed seems to carry more weight than a typical seal. By the time you've finished signing, and initialing, and signing again, and once more, you've worn your pen down to a nub. "Congratulations," says the Vicomte de V over your shoulder. "You've acquired a handsome estate. After seeing everyone who came to bid tonight, I cannot imagine a better owner." His voice seeps into your ear as your ink seeps into the paper. "I was great friends with the last resident. The house holds such fond memories. I hope to pay a call someday. Who knows, we might become great friends as well." If you can't see the deed in your inventory, please refresh the page. Okay. We'll just hope it went into the inventory, it's fine. The morning edition. Your name is in all the papers, and your picture is too. There you are at the recent estate auction, photographed with the Vicomte de V, whose appearance evidently can be captured by a camera, although the print quality might be better. He doesn't have so many ink blots in person, and the text doesn't bleed through his face from the opposite side. Well, let's read about the auction. You might already know what happened, but journalists rarely report that anyway. You're profiled as the auction's winner, naturally. But this article also features an interview with the Vicomte de V about his personal investment properties. One needn't read too far between the lines to realise the reporter was more interested in speaking with the Vicomte than in whatever the Vicomte was speaking about. What makes certain properties better to let than others in this case? Not that you'll be living in your chateau as a leaseholder. Your deed grants you full ownership and you can move into the address as your own lodgings at your convenience. Open your possessions menu and click on the deed to the Sanguine Chateau. Oh, that's a wonderful name, isn't it? Listed under your lodgings. This exceptional story will continue after you've moved into your newest property. Oh wow, do I get to keep this house? Because that's pretty cool. I got a funny feeling it's going to explode or something. That's usually how this goes. So, possessions and deed to the Sanguine Chateau. It's not going to be there, isn't it? I'm going to have to refresh the page. Is there a separate thing for lodgings? Hang on, I'm going to refresh the page because all we've got is the room to the bookshop, the key to the Zale retreat, and the reservation at the Royal Bethlehem. Hang on, let me just... Okay, we're back. I refreshed, and there it is. The deed to the Sanguine Chateau. Always read the fine print. Allows 3 cards in your hand. Ah, my current house allows me to have 4. Okay. We're downsizing. Immensely thick stone. Only a few windows, heavily barred with iron. Byzantine passageways, although less Byzantine than the paperwork you signed to purchase it. Well, let's move into your Sanguine Chateau with those patterns on the wallpaper. You barely notice the stains. This will give you a remote address, which means you'll no longer see any City Vices cards until you move back to somewhere less remote. You've moved into the Sanguine Chateau. Some bargains are simply too good to pass up, although there are noted benefits to living this far from the city centre. For one thing, debt collectors are less likely to come knocking, and for another, they're less likely to survive the marsh wolves prowling outside if they try. Ooh, got some marsh wolves. Yeah. Hang on, I still have 4 cards. Oh, I swear it said 3, but okay, whatever. Caveat emptor. At home in your chateau. A house cannot be made habitable in a day. Nevertheless, this chateau is more welcoming than other properties, with a certain warmth still lingering from previous tenants, just as it might linger upon a recently occupied cushion or fresh cadaver. One after another, lavish chambers open like so many uncorked wine bottles. You can practically smell their bouquet. Formaldehyde is a dominant note. That's from all the taxidermy. Okay, let's take a stroll around the courtyard. Quietly. You wouldn't want to disturb anything in the pond. Ripples spread from the pond's centre. You make your way around its edge. This courtyard is the house's heart, to which every corridor eventually returns, just as every garden path brings you back to the pond. You watch the water, and you feel as though someone is watching you. Someone whose breath you can feel on your neck. So much closer than you suspected. Someone whose whispers are words you have long forgotten, stirring memories that rise just like the bubbles in the pond. No, that's only a goldfish. We're gaining a certain recognition. Someone is trying to get us. Let's rearrange the furniture. If you're going to stay here, you're going to organise things to your liking. Perhaps you wouldn't have chosen those exact claw-footed tables on your own, or tapestries depicting these specific historical executions, and the buttons on this ottoman do look somewhat like bloodshot eyes, but you've managed to arrange the space quite comfortably. You sink onto a fainting couch, upholstered in thick red velvet. Pleasantly exhausted after moving so much furniture, your muscles ache. Your heartbeat pounds. Your carotid artery throbs at your throat. For such a drafty house, it's rather hot in here. Well, let's examine the taxidermy. You've acquired more than just one hideous specimen. Cannot be denied that the inventory is peculiar, and also in some disrepair. Many pieces are in pieces, with bones poking through pelts and silk stuffing visible through cracked leather. But as you wander the rooms, studying mammals with too many fins and fish with too much fur, you gradually perceive a passion behind the items. Only someone with great admiration for taxidermy as an art form and a greater fondness for glass eyes could have assembled this collection. Got some more unidentified thigh bones. Well, you know, we've got to sit down for a meal, haven't we? Aha! There's the dinner bell now. Wait, am I cooking this myself, or do I have servants that came with the house? Oh no. You find the table laid with an excellent roast, not to mention cheese and a salad, along with even more excellent vintage. You have a napkin tucked into your collar. You are holding a knife and fork. And the Vicomte de V lifts his glass. To your new home, he says. I trust you've grown acquainted. He is sitting across from you. His eyes shine in the candlelight. You don't remember entering this dining room. In fact, you don't remember having such a dining room. And you certainly don't remember letting the Vicomte into the house. I let myself in. I know this chateau very well. You must find me forward. Forgive me, I couldn't resist. When I saw you at the auction, my heart stopped for just one moment. Just one moment is all the heart needs. Have you never felt, when you've met a person, that you already know them? He turns aside bashfully. I wonder if you do me a great honor and offer me a drink. Not just any drink, you understand. Oh dear. We can either refuse his request. If he's thirsty, there's perfectly good wine on the table, or we can offer him a drink. You can provide something more vigorous than alcohol. So this is basically saying, do I want to be bitten by a vampire? Because he's totally a vampire. Curiosity kind of makes me want to see what happens, but I'm already immortal? Kind of, like, can't really die, so... Is there any other benefits? Can I get the bullet point list of benefits of vampire in Fallen London? Let's refuse his request. I don't trust him. Of course, I would never take what isn't freely given. Of course, I would never take what isn't freely given. Let us simply talk instead. Let us talk about... says the Vicomte de V. And he talks about wonderful things, nocturnal things, things that inspire the breath to quicken and the pulse to pound. Whose breath? Whose pulse? Things that you couldn't name in the morning, things that slip away as you try to hold them in your memory. The candles are dead, the plates picked clean, and you are sitting alone by the pond in your courtyard. But you still remember the Vicomte's last words. Until we dine again. And I think that's where I will end the first episode. I hope you enjoyed this. I think this is wonderful. A vampire adventure in Fallen London. But, as always, let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, I'll see you next time.